Well, Razorback fans, there's a lot of reports starting to come out about Arkansas and their current situation of looking for a new college football coach. Do they actually have plenty of money to spend? Well, let's talk about it on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday. Jeez, is it Wednesday? I don't even know. I don't even know the days of the week anymore. It's been so chaotic, and it feels like the past few days have actually just been one long day. But we're going to talk a lot about the football side of things too, and of course the coaching search. And Rhett Lashley responds to the Arkansas job being open, so we'll get into that as well as something that people have to take into consideration when it comes to this particular coaching search compared to other coaching searches in Razorback history. We'll get into that, but there's always these little reports coming out, sources and whatnot. And, I'd like to think that I've had quite a few of these sources that say the same things as some of these national guys have. But a lot of times I don't. Like a lot of times nobody in the local media do, because the message that needs to get out needs to go through a national outlet. That's just kind of part of it. But On3 had this come out yesterday, and they've been doing a good job of updating pretty much everything. I mean, they're going to give their coaches names, but as far as particular things go, and they had this excerpt from the Razorback side of things, dealing with Pittman, dealing with Yurichek, the University of Arkansas, and most importantly, the financial position that they're in to kind of take this to this next level. I'm going to read you this article, or at least read you this excerpt from this article, saying, on Monday, Hunter Yurichek said he did not have the resources he needed to appropriately compete in this conference right now. But sources have told On3 that the Razorbacks are not at the bottom of the SEC in spending. Arkansas's 2025 roster cost in the $16 to $17 million range, sources have told On3. For comparison, LSU is spending roughly $18.5 million, while Ole Miss is spending north of $20 million. Kind of an alarming thing, right? Wait a minute. You're saying that this whole time of saying that you weren't set up to be financially successful, or not set up to have the resources that you needed financially, come to find out that you actually had $16 to $17 million in, comparatively speaking, across the rest of the SEC. That's high. In fact, really close to teams like LSU, teams like Ole Miss that are far and away ahead of you. So who do we believe in this situation? Who do we turn to? What do we try to believe and try to make sense out of when it comes to all of these things? Well, here's something you got to remember, folks, and keep in mind. When you see something like this, it's not specifically saying, oh, well, Arkansas's total budget for everything is $16 million or $17 million, and Ole Miss and LSU, it's just a shade above it. This is in reference to revenue sharing. $20.5 million per year is what the current setup is for revenue sharing, as we know. And the Razorback sports model that was at least portrayed and relayed to the donors and to everybody was they were doing a 70-20-30 or 70-20-10 model. 70% of it goes towards football, 20% to basketball, 10% to baseball. And if you do the math, it gets close to checking out. He's making about 70% of 20.5 million, roughly in that range of 16 to 17 million. But here's the thing you got to remember. You see $18.5 million for LSU and Ole Miss at $20 million. You're like, oh, it's not that different. Well, it is, because this is the kind of the thing that everyone's been talking about. It doesn't include NIL or quote NIL. There's a lot of players out there that sure are falling under this certain budget for these certain schools, but when they need to get those big time players and the amount of those big time players, guess what happens? They find various ways. This was the third lane that Hunter Yurichek was talking about. So when you see that, it honestly causes even more confusion, because I've already had so many people reach out to me about this. Like, wait a minute. I thought we were broke. I thought we didn't have money. I thought Sam Pittman wasn't set up for financial success. And my argument to that is he wasn't. He wasn't where he needed to be, because this just covers a small portion of it. And also, if you think about it, when you think about that much money, it's like, how did they have that much money? There's only one player, folks. There's only one player specifically that we know that received an NIL check from Arkansas for a certain amount, that we know this specific amount. And that is our boy Madden. That's right. The guy that's not even here anymore. Went over to UCLA. The only reason we know it is because of the lawsuit that was brought up. And he was going to be set to make $500,000. A freshman quarterback coming out of California, 4-star player, was going to make $500K. Put that in consideration in comparison to trying to fill the whole roster into all these players and add it up. And you know what? It kind of makes sense, but it starts to make you wonder, was this more about the budget, or was it more about the talent evaluation through the budget? Because there's a major difference between that. It's all encompassing, and it's all coming back to light. The things that I know I talked about and others talked about for a long time, that way back when either was kind of brushed over or wasn't made a big deal. These are the things that built up, and that's what's made it a big deal. For instance, not having a GM for a very long time. The GM that's supposed to be in charge of the money and evaluation and knowing market value. You waited and you waited and you waited and you waited, and then you hired one. And then it was kind of like, okay, so where's that at now? What's that looking like right now? It seems like you were behind the 8 ball in that. And if it is the case to where you're actually spending close to what these schools are, then what are you spending it on? I don't believe it's being spent in a necessarily bad way. It's just, comparatively speaking to these other schools, you're not putting forth the extra money that is needed and necessary in order to succeed at a high level, like those LSUs, Texas, and Georgias, and all of those. This is the whole idea behind it. This idea of leveling the playing field with revenue share is just, it's a fugazi. It doesn't exist. It's just something that everyone's going to have and everyone's going to do. But to act like that Arkansas is going to have the same exact money 100% as Texas is just not the case. You think Texas is going to spend the same exact amount of money on football as Arkansas, and they're not going to just try to cut any corners or do any shortcuts or anything like that. They're going to try to add money in. I'm not calling out Texas. I'm calling out everybody. Arkansas is the anomaly in this. Arkansas is the one that's on the wrong side of it. People talk about, oh, well, these other places are cheating. Well, are they cheating because there's no consequences for their actions? And there never will be unless something major changes in law. So that's the whole point. Arkansas does have a ton of money. They do. They are able to compete at the high level, but they have to be able to have the people in place that's willing to push it to that limit. And whichever new coach comes in, they're going to have to make sure that they have the right guys in place to be able to incentivize that and to be able to push for that and to be able to set up that coach for success. Because I'm telling you right now, and I'm going to go on a little mini rant here. I'm getting I know it happens all the time, but it is amazing to me the amount of people that don't give two rips about Arkansas and Arkansas football, about whether they're good or bad or whatever. But as soon as a coaching change happens, as soon as something like that happens in football, suddenly you have these morons out here that just come out of the woodwork and suddenly want to tell Arkansas fans or anybody that's involved with Arkansas football what you should do, what you should be, who you should hire, who you shouldn't hire, what's the goal here, what's the achievement. It's like, shut up. You don't care. You just want to have an opinion on something. It's because it's something people are talking about. I just love seeing these social media posts and these written articles and everything, just being like, you know what, Arkansas, let me tell you something about Arkansas. Arkansas's a job, it's got a lot of money, but it's just not as good as SMU. No, it's just not as good as SMU. Who are you? Have you ever been to Fayetteville? You don't even know anybody here. But it's amazing how many people are trying to express their own opinions on something when they don't even know anything about it. I see people that are coming out of the woodwork talking about Bobby Petrino. Awful. This guy he's not a very good person. He's not very moral. We really, we're going down this road again. Something that happened almost 15 years ago, and you're trying to regurgitate and say, this is bad. I don't agree with any of this. This is a game of high moral character. Where have you been? I get so annoyed by them all. And I get it. It's part of it. It's part of a coaching change. And anytime you have this attention being paid to you, you're going to have this. But people need to understand something. When you see Arkansas and you see, oh, they got Walmart and Tyson, they got money, all the money in the world. That's not what this is about. And that's not the case here. We got to talk about what's in reality. Arkansas does have money. They have plenty of money. They have money that's willing to be spent. But it's a matter of who you're willing to invest it in. Nobody in the history of mankind ever became a millionaire by being stupid with money. If they are going to put into something, there needs to be a return of investment. And if there's not, they're not going to do it anymore. And for what it looks like to me is that the amount of money that should be being used to be put in hasn't been and wasn't under Sam Pittman. And it may not just be a Sam Pittman thing. It may be a Hunter Yurichek thing. It may have been something that they're like, we're not going to give y'all any money. This isn't what we want. This is not going to equate to anything. It's not going to be good. So I firmly believe Arkansas has enough money to compete at the highest level and to get whoever they need to get in here to be the next head coach of Arkansas to be able to be set up for success. I do believe it. But do they trust everyone involved? Are they going to trust a new coach to do it? Are they going to trust Yurichek to be that guy? Are they going to trust Remy Cofield to stay on? Do they trust any of these people? Because what it looks like to me over the past few years, you screwed the pooch a lot, and you haven't showcased any sort of reasoning or evidence of why everything's going to be good to go and different with this new coach. It's hard to really tell that right now. Tell you what, though, one of the new potential coaches did speak on this Arkansas job, and it's really funny because it's always a classic little line, but we'll talk about that. So stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks. All right, Razorback fans, Mazda crafts cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride. With more IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus awards than anybody else, from footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. Mazda brings the same intention to how they craft every model. With all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because you got to make every move count. Impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. We're also presented by our friends over at Monarch Money. Most people can't name all of their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks or properties or investments or anything like that. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving a lot of money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's all in one, a personal finance tool that brings the entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface. And on your laptop or on your phone, doesn't matter. You can use it either way. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all of your accounts in a matter of minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You can identify some of the places that you thought you were saving a lot more money in, but you're actually not. And Monarch helps you notice inefficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from your past jobs. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year with monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So there is a lot of coaches that are going to get thrown around, a lot of these names, and I was laughing about it in the first segment because I feel like there's so many people that are like, hey, John, who do you think's going to be the next head coach, man? Who do you think? I have no clue. And anyone that says they do, they're lying. They're lying to you. We got 7 games left of the college football season for Arkansas. There's a lot of time left. There's so many things that need to transpire, need to happen. But I get it. I appreciate it. And I'm always going to talk about it. But if anyone thinks that me or you or anyone that has a vast idea of who it's going to be, again, you're just kidding yourselves. Well, the name that there's no doubt that I've done when I've done these interviews and I've gone on other people's shows and podcasts, the name that always gets brought up is Rhett Lashley. You probably have heard of him. He's a guy that used to be at Arkansas and not only played here, coached here a little bit, and was a Gus Malzahn disciple, always is friendly with a place like Arkansas, played in Northwest Arkansas at Shiloh Christian, just all the connections. And he's the current SMU head coach. You know, that coach that ended up taking SMU to a playoff last year and had back-to-back 10-win seasons. Done a pretty good job. He's the name that seems to be the one that makes the most sense. Well, of course, he's still the head coach there. He got asked about this particular job with Arkansas, and, well, let's hear what Rhett Lashley had to say about the opening here at the Razorbacks.
Where do you stand on that, and how do you react when your name is in these rumors this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, I don't stand anywhere on speculation and hypotheticals. So I'm happy. I've got a great job. I think when your name gets linked to jobs, it means your team has done well, the program has done well. So it's a compliment to what our staff and administration and players have built over the last 3+ years. And then a lot of times there's obvious connections. I mean, if it's your alma mater, it's easy to link names. But I haven't given it any thought because there hasn't been anything to give thought to. It's a fair question, but I'm really excited with what we're building here. I'm not discouraged at all by the fact that we're sitting here at 2-2. I think when you look at it, we've got a chance to go 1-0 in the league this year, which would be 9 straight conference games to start the ACC. I think what we've began to build is really fun, and what we can build is even more special. We got an excellent recruiting class that's freshmen right now. We got a top 25 recruiting class in 26, and a lot of guys on this roster that can come back. And so those are the guys that we're focused on. So, you just, until there's things to talk about, you don't talk about them. Internally, we haven't said a word about it because in my world, nothing's going on. Outside of the world, there's a lot of that speculation, and that's part of our business, and it's probably not going anywhere.
So, you guys convinced yet? I just heard that from Rhett Lashley, and first off, he said everything he said was fine. It's just funny to me how so many people will hear this and try to take anything from it, one way or the other. Folks, him getting asked that question, he's not going to come out and say, "Are you kidding me?" Yeah. Of course, as soon as they offer me the job, I'm out of this pile of crap. I'm done with this place. I can't wait to get to Fayetteville. He's not going to say that. And he's also not going to say and go over the top and be like, listen, I'm staying here at SMU, and if you even think I'm going to SMU, I'm not. I'm not even listening to anybody. I'm not even talking to anybody. And if I even think about going to any place, especially like Arkansas, you can just go ahead and you can tar and feather me and run me out on a rail. Like, he's not going to go over the top either way. Like, this means nothing. This comment means nothing. He's going to get asked it. He responded well. Also love how I felt like he was doing a recruiting pitch, almost like a resume builder. Of like, I'm happy here at SMU. I'm really happy here. But, the reason I'm happy is because, we have this top 20 class coming in. And, I know I'm not panicking about our record right now. And we've had back-to-back 10-win seasons. We're good. We were in the playoffs last year. I don't know if you knew. And it's just really funny to hear kind of his own resume he's trying to throw out there. I don't know if he's doing it for Arkansas or doing it for everybody. But the point is that he is the name. In fact, I'd be shocked if any other coach, current active coach, gets asked about the Arkansas job. Although Jeff Traylor did have something from UTSA. I thought about playing that clip where he was not even asked about it, but it was almost like, yeah, I know, guys, I know I'm going to get linked to the Arkansas job. But here's the thing, it's not fair to my players. Like, buddy, I don't remember anyone asking, but okay. But right now, I just don't know if any other coaches are going to get asked. The only time they do, at least in my opinion, will be when a name or a report gets thrown out. It'll be like, hey, Arkansas is targeting so-and-so. And then suddenly it becomes a thing where they got to find out and they're going to ask them about it. But either way, it's not a big deal. At least he answered it honestly. Does that mean he's for sure number one target going to happen? No. Does it mean that he has zero interest? No. Because let's be honest. Last time I checked, there was a few coaches that have said that I'm not going anywhere and I'm happy where I'm at, that actually, ended up going somewhere and being happy at that other place too. It's happened before. This coaching staff or this coaching search is going to be different this year compared to the others. And I'm going to tell you why. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, we know the NFL season is here, college football's here, and FanDuel has an offer that you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the entire app. It makes watching football even more exciting when you have something riding on the action. And whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today to get started. This episode is also brought to you by our friends over at Square, your favorite neighborhood spots run on Square. There are certain businesses that make the neighborhood the neighborhood. These are the places that have become an extension of home, whether it's a sports bar dedicated to your team's fan base, the spot where the best wings are in town for game day, or that beloved local chain that's been rooted in your community for years. There are businesses like that. Those are the things that bring people together. When neighborhood businesses thrive, the whole neighborhood itself ends up thriving. The thing about it is that there's a lot of businesses here, especially like food trucks. Food trucks here in the state of Arkansas are very impactful, but especially in the Northwest Arkansas, or locally in Fayetteville even. Food trucks all around. I'm very lucky enough to have a bunch of places around me that end up using Square, and it makes it easy, and it's all part of what makes the charm so great of those businesses. And being able to go to lunch or dinner or whatever, just pick it up from a food truck. Food always hits a little bit differently, and it always means a lot more. So Square is the proud partner of more than 4 million neighborhood businesses around the world. You can go to square.com/go/lockedoncollege to learn more. But before you do, go support your favorite neighborhood spot. You'll be happy you did. Square, see you in the neighborhood. All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Okay, folks, I know that, again, we're going to talk about this coaching search and give you updates each and every day. And I know that I have strong feelings on how people approach these coaching searches. I'm not saying that I'm a seasoned veteran, but I have been through a few. I went through as far as when I was in media. My very first one was actually Bobby Petrino. I just started in radio when that happened. Of course, when the John L. Smith thing happened, Brett Bielema, Chad Morris, Sam Pittman, and now this new one. Basketball, I went through it when Mike Anderson got fired, and the Eric Musselman, and now the John Calipari stuff. So a lot less there. But the point is, not all coaching searches are created equal. Not all coaching searches are going to be the same thing. They're always going to be different. And this Arkansas one, I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm not trying to be over the top. I'm just telling you it's going to be more different than any of the other ones before. Not saying it's going to be more dramatic, at least who knows, and maybe it will be. But it's different now because of the era in college football. There was a way back with Pittman or Bielema or whoever, where you could look at Arkansas and look at all the other schools or all the other openings, job openings in the country in college sports, and be able to rank them and be able to feel confident in those rankings because you saw the things that you actually had. Well, we got these facilities, we got this recruiting base here in state, we could pay the coach this amount of money, and you have all these different things that get thrown around. But my thing is that because of the NIL, because of transfer portal, because of all this stuff, it's so different. It's no longer, it's almost like it's working in the shadows. All these programs are in the shadows. Sure, some of them are the common ones that are always going to be great, you know, the big dogs. But now, because of the secrecy behind it, so many people can look at Arkansas now and a job like Arkansas and be like, I don't know how good or how bad this job is, because the funding and the NIL and all that stuff that goes with it, that's priority number one. You got to be set up for success. So if that's priority number one, you can lure coaches maybe that you couldn't before. You can lure recruits that you maybe haven't been able to before. You can do all of these things that you haven't been able to do before. And it's pretty incredible. I say all that because I need people to understand that because you have a coach that got fired midseason, you have a lot of weeks left, have a lot of things to go on. You still have games to play. It doesn't even feel like, it feels like an afterthought. But you still have games to play. You still have over half the season left playing games. We don't know what the administration is going to look like. We don't know if Yurichek's going to be one making the hire. I don't think he will be. From what I understand, he won't be, but don't know. There's a lot of uncertainty. So don't go in expecting results and expecting answers and expecting all this stuff immediately right off the bat. Expect chaos, expect nonsense, and expect wild and crazy things happening each and every day. You know why? It's Arkansas. It's Arkansas. The only type of coaching search we even know is drunk coaching searches. So you may have to do the plane tracking. Boots on the ground and eyes on the skies, boys. Let's see who's going to be the next head coach. Let's have fun with it too. Appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter, John Nabors Show, for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. Keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. See you then.